I do have great number of audiences who are really, really here, stagnating to the screens and wanting to hear you, wanting to hear your views. I've given them a brief backdrop as to what exactly the world of metaverse is, and I've also given them a brief intro about the video so that they get a clear understanding. But what better to hear from the horse's mouth herself? And I'd really like you to elaborate as to what exactly is your view on the incoming of this concept called metaverse in the new age of hybrid learning.
Yeah. So, so first, I think many people, and including myself, we are all still understanding the world of metaverse. So that's why while I was doing a board presentation somewhere else, we were playing a video here. So maybe going forward, I could have just sent my new avatar, which I've created to the metaverse, to Sugandh and to all of you. And my board presentation could have been done physically by me.
Fair enough.
So that's the possibility. And why here? Maybe there are 4 or 5 people who wanted my attention. Maybe my daughter in the UK wanted to discuss something with me. And my son wanted to have an experience at the same time of going to Amazon forest and having a real forest experience. So my avatars and my husband, who is now currently going through COVID again after 2 years, so he may need some special care and feel I'm around him and taking care of him while all this is going on. So I could have managed like all of them. So that is the world of metaverse, which really means meta and universe, right? So that's the new world which we are getting into. And if I wanted to also feel good and all of these and interact with my friends, I could have just gone and bought certain clothes from meta hyper stores.
Exactly.
And dressed myself and just have a party with them as well.
This is such a practical example to showcase wherein you were already caught up somewhere really important, but then your presence was equally important here. And yes, you rightly said this is the new world of metaverse where, if you could have had your avatar being sent to me, I could have, played it here and made people aware that yes, you are there on screen, while you could have joined in 10 minutes or 15 minutes later as well, because you knew that you would have sent me your avatar. So yeah, that's a very clear cut and practical example to explain people how important this new concept is going to be in our hybrid way of learning and the way of working as well. But how do you think, ma'am, that what is the meaning of this concept in today's workplaces? How do you think it will change the aspect of learning for people within organizations?
I think in a big way. I think our world, as that at times good things also come out of worse situations, right? How much we've been hearing when we were small children: the day you stop learning is the day you stop growing. Now, that is not only true for individuals, that is also true for organizations, right? That if people who are sum total of organization, if all of them learned, how beautiful that's going to be. So one part of the world changed, thanks to this whole COVID era. But what it also did to us is, and what I see in my organization, people are constantly, craving for. And just now I had that question even at the board. So how many people are going in for this physical interactions? So we've gone online, so that people connect is currently missing. So one of the big change that we can drive through metaverse, that yes, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. Incidentally, on our learning feedback has changed dramatically on the online format, because we also looked at future entertainment forms of learning while you are learning some boring skills, gamified versions and all that. But what it also brings with it is the touch that people are missing. So one thing that metaverse way of learning can give us is we can all be feeling that we are sitting in the same room. The audience need not feel that they're on webinar. They would feel, Sugandh and I would feel, and all the audience would feel we're in the same room talking as if we are talking in a banquet. And it's that realer feel, the whole human connect that we miss, to a large extent, that can be also satisfied. That would not take away the need still for, now that will still need not take away the need for physical classrooms. But today we do 20%, we are proposing to do physical even in the good times. 60% will be like live online, and maybe another 20 where people learn on their own. But this, even the 60 can be further broken down to metaverse classrooms and then live online and stuff like that. Yeah.
Ma'am, now that we've gotten so used to this virtual concept of working also and meeting people, also greeting, how do you think the relevance of this touch stays stagnant into a working realm?
See, I think touch remains stagnant, only when, like, in real life, when someone's like unwell, or when someone is going through a tough time, or you are going through a period of change, or there is something, all of those things that you're grappling with, which is very personal, which is effort intensive, and you don't have all the answers, you need help, like those areas, we still value face to face interactions, whether it's one is to one, even as individuals, like with our friends, with our family, even at the workplace. We prefer someone to come and just, sometimes I see even, some of my team members, they are experienced people, they are experienced life also in terms of the age, but sometimes they're going to difficult time and we just give a hug and they say, oh my god, that hug, like, sort of say. So whenever, likewise, when there are change interventions that we are running, when we want the organization people to go to certain change, right? There we are saying that if we are wanting to drive change to live online or virtual format, is not that effective, because people are anxious. They want to get that, calming, this thing. They want to ask real questions. They want to exude their energy. They want to feel the positive energy. Now, so all that you can do physical. So where there's a large energy, transfer, which is required, when there's a little bit of imbalance because of whatever reasons, that's where, it's important for us to still make physical.
Ma'am, in the world where we're trying to bridge this gap of, lack of touch and people wanting, to some extent, want to go back to that real realm wherein, touch was a very common thing, wherein they used to go to office, greet people, meet people. Do you think that, incoming of such a concept as metaverse is going to widen that gap? Because now the touch is also being created on a virtual realm that we'll get more accustomed
No.
to a new change.
No, and not at all. And I can tell you, like, as you can see, I'm not very young in terms of my age, but I also loved the WhatsApp. For example, how it got in touch with me back to my school friends. I still remember, and then I'll come to the metaverse story. So I still remember the day I dropped my daughter off to UK for her, courses. And we all came back home. We were happy. The moment I landed home, I was feeling miserable, right? And then the next day, I got into this WhatsApp group of my school friends, which we just formed maybe just the year before. And I said, this is how I'm feeling. And I got some funny ideas. Some said, okay, now this is the time to go and have boyfriends, and you have more time to yourself. Go and have a party, go and chill, and so all funny ideas. And some said, what the hell, learn to just be happy, shake yourself up. So that's your school friends can say, right? So
Right.
it just changed me within 2 days. And today I also shudder to think. Likewise, the whole world of Facebook, people whom we are not connected, and even, my husband launched this new page called SOS, when the COVID era happened, and how many people got connected with each other through information, through feeling good, helping, enabling each other out. So likewise, now metaverse is going to just multiply these things a lot more. You have lot more experiences. So imagine, someone can't afford to go to, let's say, either you don't have time or you don't have the money, right? So to go and spend time in an Amazon forest and do some meditation, or do your reading, or plan up your next strategy, right? You want that cool, you want that calm, or you want to go to Kailash, Parvat, and I have to do some exercise and all that, but I don't have time for all that, but I still want to get there.
Right.
So you can actually get the experience of being there and doing whatever you wish to do, if you have a time constraint, even if you have a money constraint. It is such an equalizer, right? And today you see all our people, even at the lowest end of the value chain, some of their entertainment is also on this mobile phone, the TikToks of the world, right? That is going to get multiplied. They can also get an Amazon experience. They can also go and see the polar bear in Antarctic, right?
Of
And they
course.
can also, say hello to, you've seen that Karina Kapoor thing that comes up now. She wishes people on their birthdays.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I like
That's an
it. Even at
animation,
this
yeah.
age, I love it. I said, oh, if she came and wished her, but this going to be nice. So all these things are going to be even more. So things people crave for, the experiences people crave for, it's going to take a lot of those cravings away. And it is
But
it
don't
is
you
in
think
that
we'll get
sense
more adept to this virtual space?
more.
More adept to this virtual space, and then the loss of touch, is gonna get widened.
Yeah, so it is like this, right? So there are people who drink, one drink a day and they're fine. And there are some people who become alcoholic with the same drink, right?
Right.
It is up to us. Yes, absolutely great question. You have to use things in moderation and so that it is healthy for you. It just opens yourself. By the way, I don't drink. It opens you up and etc. So you have to use things in sort of moderation, and that's true even right now. With the Facebooks of the world, and yes, the Netflix, the OTT. The world seems to be just consuming only OTT and leaving the world there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Cinemas are,
yeah. But it is, yeah.
delving.
So, but it is up to us. People, if you see people who are being able to leverage it constructively, are leveraging it well. But that's true with anything. When like this ad, if you recall, of Idea, they said India ka population abhi kam ho jayega because abhi, and idea aa gaya hai, right? People have something better to do than giving birth to babies. If you saw before the electricity era, we had a television era, our population was exploding, right? Because whatever you have in your hand, you can overuse. But as you sort of, have more options and people know
Mhm.
how to use things in moderation, I think it's beautiful. I really feel people are partying, people are meeting, people are connecting. But there are multiple forms of doing that. And,
And I
it's
feel my
different.
moderation is also an art. Now that we are getting used to so many new concepts coming in during this COVID era, moderation is the need of the hour.
Yeah, yeah,
Virtual hangings, virtual meetings, uh, they, while they do have a plus point that we're not going out, but they do have, certain level of discomforts as well. One shouldn't get adept to it, because initially there were so many Zoom meetings happening that we also came used to this concept called Zoom fatigue.
yeah,
Hence, the level of moderation wasn't managed that well during the
yeah,
time wherein we were having tons of Zoom meetings.
yeah, 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 exactly. Absolutely.
Also, like we learned that there is an art of onboarding and its ethics in the last 2 years, what kind of learnings do you predict with the onset of metaverse? You know,
Oh,
uh,
amazing, amazing. So I have worked with manufacturing industry, right? And but while we say it's manufacturing industry, other than the few people who are in manufacturing, never got to get exposed to them, right? So the world of metaverse, it will help us to really make them feel like they're going through those factory lines. They're really seeing I was delighted when I got invited from Maruti to really see how their operations work. And despite working in a manufacturing industry and FMCG for years, I was still craving for that opportunity, right? And they took us to everything. So now we can really give thousands of people, and organizations have started using metaverse and virtual and augmented reality and mixed reality and virtual reality. And the world of metaverse is just going to multiply. And right now they're very expensive. So with the advancement of technology, the cost is also going to come down. So we can give people all those experiences in very much detail. Right now we are unable to do that, or the cost
mhm.
of doing that is very high, even if you want to use AR, VR. So those changes, right? You really know, even in banking, where I'm a part of now. So our Airoli office and some other 4, 5 offices across the country, So much work goes on. Our frontline people are not even sensitive to the pressures that these people face. If
Indeed.
they knew it, if they saw it, if they interacted with them in the world of metaverse, right? And maybe someone's still doing their billing and all of that, but the metaverse avatar can interact with another customer service person
Exactly.
who's doing his or her work, but can interact, right, with each other and get to understand. So during onboarding, bringing them this world of reality, I think is a huge, huge opportunity, and it will get them tremendously grounded and real, and and a good head start, as we say. So onboarding, I see a great opportunity.
Okay.
Also, today, beyond onboarding, so even day-to-day operations, when people do, so my customer
Hmm.
service people, right, the frontliners, most pressurized, till 3 o'clock they manage customers. After that, they're also responsible for getting business, so they start those
Right.
things. But they also want to go and meet people at their homes. They love doing that, meet some of the old citizens who can't come to the
Right.
bank. They want to do all that. So this allows them to do all that beautifully now with their avatars, imagine, and they're interacting with each other.
While I go ahead with other questions, now, ma'am, I do have one question from Akanksha Dhar, Maven 7. She says that she has two questions. One, how far do you think that we are in terms of metaverse entering India into a corporate and leadership development level?
Uh, so, Akanksha, the work that you do on network analysis, right? Imagine how your networks can just explode. So today, me sitting here, I may not be, and you always say that, you must network, you must get in touch, you must influence, you should become an influencer. So I feel people, see, all of people as human beings, we know networking has to happen still. It doesn't happen, right? We believe people want to interact socially, but reality is सब अपने रूम में और अपने घर पे और अपने chair पे खुश है, right? So, and because people build some shyness because of their upbringing, some social thing or whatever, a large number of people are like that, right? How many people do you see who are really reaching out? Now, to Akanksha, your question, since I know what your organization does, it will really open up a world of opportunity for networking, right? It will. I put my avatar who is confident, who is looking good, etc., and has that interaction, and wherever I feel, and maybe with another person who is also equally sort of shy. So these two people are then interacting with their avatars and having the conversation in the way they would love to. So those are, significant opportunities of multiplier effect that we have. Sometimes we will do a mixed reality also. No? Some part I'm there. So initially the avatar says hi, you've broken the ice.
Exactly.
And then you step in through a virtual reality like this. And then you say step 3, now I'm going to come and meet you in person also, maybe over a few months. So, how we sort of integrate and amalgamate all of these things are very, very important. Yeah.
Also, now this is one of my questions as well that she's asked again. Which of the HR functions do you think will benefit from the onset of metaverse?
All of them. All of them. Before, what we do, we interview people before we hire them, right? Yeah, so we can definitely, but there we would also like to see a little bit of the real self as well. But especially post hiring, when you are doing the onboarding interactions and getting them, I was hiring someone who was joining me in 3 months. The person I knew is joining, I just couldn't go and interact with him or her post
Right.
the hiring process. So it allows us to do that, a little bit better of those interactions. So I think post hiring, how do you get people in the pre joining stage? Even while you are joining, this whole world of metaverse, in terms of you have questions, especially the HR shared services team who is responsible for answering these questions. Currently, there are people on the computer or on the bots or maybe, behind phones. But you will be able to see their avatars, beyond the chatbots, their avatars who are interacting with you. So you feel a better personal connect than what you sort of feel right now. So those are great opportunities Even when you are onboarding or your day-to-day query resolutions, you can feel there's a face behind everything. And the third opportunity, as I said, in learning and development, huge opportunities that I see when it comes to the world of sort of metaverse. One of our roles in HR is to reach out to people. So within the organization, we are a 160,000 organization, however much I try.
I
you know,
understand. I mean, it's not that humanly possible for you to reach out to everyone and
you
then to
said it.
listen to
Yeah,
everyone's queries.
you said it.
And
Said it.
yeah.
So, we are like God, you can become omnipresent now. So metaverse is meta universe, right? So as you know, people who are spiritually very, very evolved, they can do some of these things like teleportation. You know what is
Right,
teleportation? You are sitting
right.
here and your energies are moving everywhere. But now you can see an avatar of them, of people. So or they can go anywhere and enjoy the world. So people can do all that. So you are omnipresent and God is
Uh,
omnipresent.
do you think that the virtual look of professionalism is going to vanish? Because, see, I'll be very honest. When we are working from home, we're sitting in our comfortable night suits or pajamas and doing the work. But then when we're supposed to come online, like I'm online right now, and I have to dress up properly. I have to look good. I have to have a screen presence. So, do you think with coming in of these avatars, which will be there floating everywhere where you're talking and representing your true self, you think that the level of professionalism when you are asked to look in a certain way is going to diminish somewhere?
See, again, yeah. So again, thanks, Anupam. So again, the point that I have to make here is this, that, uh, it is how you do it, right? So I now get up every day morning and dress up, even if I'm behind the cameras, right? But yes, there are some days when I'm feeling groggy, I take the first call sitting on my bed. And so, yeah, so I think it is again using in moderation. See, keeping our body, as if today everyone knows they will do yoga, exercise, meditation. It's not that people are doing it all the time, even when there's no metaverse. But it's a matter of intent. Yes, there is a danger of people exercising a lot less, because now people, my son also tells me that. So he said, now I gym and all that because I want to look good. I want to wear those clothes and
Right.
all that. I may become a little lazy. So yes, there are those dangers always there. But finally, nothing yet is more powerful than our intelligence and human mind. So it's how we make it work for us is what is important.
Now that before I said that we are opening a forum of discussion for people to ask questions, I guess they're actually hearing out each word that you're saying. So that I have number of questions from people. One is from Sandeep Kaul, and he says that how big will be an issue of burnout for employees spending excessive amounts of time immersed in virtual works. What is your take on
Yeah.
that?
So, I just heard yesterday that there's a research which says that the next, let's say, 20 years is going to be, is expected to be good time for India, right? Uh, but uh, but what has been seen that with the advent of whole social media, almost 50% of time people had available to them, if their last 10 years, where 5 saal has gone into this, the prediction is in the next 20 years, 18 years of human time can go in some of these so-called addictive things, right? Um, so if your question is, are we going to add on to the problem? Okay.
He wants to
Um,
address the issue that how will big will be an issue of burnout for employees, spending
yeah,
excessive
yeah. So I'll come to that. Yeah, I'll come to that. So if the burnout question is because people are immersing themselves in this technology, and also is that why the question is, Sandeep, that they're immersing themselves in the technology and
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah, okay,
yes.
yes. So if that's the question, so there is a danger of that, right? So 18, and even without the metaverse, this is what is being talked about, even without the metaverse coming in, right? Abhi 50% time ja raha hai, so going forward, maybe 80% of your time will go in all of these, distractions. Uh, but the thing is, again, it is really about us. So as you have seen, organizations who have managed to manage this COVID transition well, their productivity has increased in all areas. We have moved digital, we have moved this thing, because the leaders are now leading differently, right? I was just having a conversation. We are also doing so many things, to enable people to lead differently. Let's talk, let's dialogue. So all those things are also heightening because productivity is going up. So one of the reasons this would happen is because technology also drives productivity up. So abhi, if no one's talking to me, whether virtually or physically, I'm then just doing my own thing. I know you may have read this article by a gentleman who, till he was found out, he got a data analytics job. And within 2 months, he found out that he can do it very easily. He hired a data analyst for him who programmed things for him. And without his company knowing, he would apply all his data analytics work on that program and he would deliver, and people would love him. And, he would get promotions year on year. And this went on for 7 years. So leaders' roles are going to change. Parents' roles are going to change. And people who are, supposed to guide each other, team leaders' roles are changing. Uh, because you can't leave everything to the individual ki wo moderate karte rahenge, right? Moderation has always been a moderated process itself. That's not going to go away. And hence the whole element of creating time out for conversations, creating time out for reviews, creating time out for dialogues, just to connect at a human to human level, all that is going to become very, very important. So technology is going to take away a lot of our productivity needs. It will take care of our, immediate needs of experience. Oh, I'm losing out on this. All those things will. But you have to supplement and complement it with more human interactions, whether you do it digitally, whether you do it
But
physically.
don't you think with the onset of metaverse, we're actually preparing for replacing humans with technology?
No. So just closing Sandeep's question on burnout. So Sandeep, like even now
Mm.
in this world of COVID, you see some organizations are indeed burning out because they're not being able to handle this change well. So I agree with you. But the lesson to learn is from the ones that are not burning out, right? And hopefully sooner or later, people will ask those lessons, understand those lessons, and sort of make it a way of life. But yes, there is always, if you can't moderate. But as I'm saying, that there are good examples, there are bad examples. But yes, we all have to consciously also drive the change. And now, since we know technology is going to be here to stay and it has its own advantages as well, how to really do it a little bit more proactively. Even I see the COVID change. Earlier organizations will wait. They'll let things spike, then we will take chance. But now in this third Omicron wave, the moment there was like a little spike, everyone says shut down, lockdown, go back, blah blah. So it's important that we learn our lessons first. Otherwise we can burn out, and burnouts will happen in pockets. It will happen in pockets. I'm quite sure of that if that can't be handled. So great question. Yeah.
I hope, Sandeep, your question has been answered pretty well, to an extent that it has covered largely different aspects of what you were actually talking about. Ma'am, my next question to you is, now that we've learned certain ethics while talking on a virtual mode or while talking on Zoom, do you think that there'll be certain, or there are certain limitations to metaverse as well, something that we have to learn in the metaverse way of working in hybrid world?
Yes, we will have to. We will have to learn a lot, but they are most of them are going to be intuitive. More and more, as you know, technology is becoming intuitive. More than learning, I myself find this whole cumbersome thing of wearing the AR VR goggles, and I hope there's going to be some better, uh, the modalities to be able to experience this world. But more and more technology is becoming intuitive as we see. So more than learning the technology, even I remember Teams, Microsoft Teams. So some of my forward-looking team members in my earlier company, they said, let's go Teams. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a new thing to learn. Karo. Very nice, very nice. Tell me how, right? But when the digital happened, just a month before that, again, it had already started hitting us. Another team member in my current organization comes and says, Shamisha team says, karo, sikao. But I'm a little bit more interested because I could see that we may have to use it soon enough. But when it finally happened, we all jumped into it, and I myself struggled in the first 2, 3 occurrences. I was doing a large 5,000 people webcast. Oh God, it was such a disaster. But then we learned, right, through our errors and mistakes quickly enough how to handle the technology. But adjusting the whole human element, the burnout element, the productivity element with the balance, that is the next level challenge which we have to address.
Okay. While every side has, two coins, just to end and bring this to a very healthy discussion, to a moderate end, ma'am, what would be, the positives and the negatives of this new aspect that is coming into picture?
So the positives really are, the experiences people are going to have. Positive is really about this whole element of teleportation, things that you do. Positives is about environmental pollution because, maybe less cars and less travel and modes of all those environmental pollution. It can aid climate change to that extent, as we saw even in the COVID era, since we have to move to this, etc. Then there's also this whole rising cost of staying, housing, because it's so much in demand, so it goes up. Then less office spaces would be built because as the population explodes, more people have to be employed, so more office spaces were getting built. So all those needs will also come down to a large extent. So your all of those savings, electricity, space, cost, it's reasonable. So those are some of the significant, from experience to teleportation to interactions to environment, as well as cost of living going down maybe. The not so positives are, like you said, people not exercising enough because the incentives are less. The whole element of burnout culture, if we can set in, if we are not being able to manage. People not interacting with people, they may lose connect with reality, their own consciousness and their own existence, and live in this unreal world and lose touch with reality. These are some of the significant fallouts that can also happen if you're not mindful.
Exciting session. So many questions answered. I still have number of questions. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us and for enlightening us upon this new concept with so much of analysis, as well as live examples that you've given us. It's been a pleasure talking to you.